did 2 whole cars. It was me, Dez, and me 3, right? And on the first car, in small letters, it said, "All you see is," and then, you know, big, you know, black silver letters, it said, "Crime in the city," right?
At the Grand Concourse 149th Street station in the Bronx, graffiti writers gather at what they call the writer's bench.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Live from the writer's bench, another episode. I'm your man, Kill. Got all my soldiers on deck today. Beezo and Vic. What's going on, y'all? What up? That's what it is. Yo, with all the hoopla around, you know, everybody talking about Nas's Illmatic 20th anniversary, everything like that. You know, I was like, I was on OK Play and came across a post just kind of shouting out some other albums that had dropped that year. And to be honest with you, when I did the knowledge and really started looking, I didn't realize so many albums came out in '94 that, you know, were really dope. So, you know, what we're going to be chopping it up about tonight is outside of Biggie's Ready to Die and Nas's Illmatic, what are our 2 favorite albums that dropped in '94 and what's like our slept on album, that album that like maybe you only mess with because that was a joint you was with another, you was with your shorty and that the album just reminds you of her, or you know, the slept on joint that a lot of people may not have heard but was really dope. So that's kind of what we chopping up about, you know, saluting these artists who, you know, are celebrating their 20th anniversary outside of Nas. And the funny thing is, I haven't even heard anything about Ready to Die, like as far as the 20th anniversary. Like everything has really just been Illmatic, like, you know, so that's another reason why we wanted to do the show. You know, not still no shine from Nas, but a lot of other dope hip hop came out in '94 too. So yo, Ed, why don't you start us off with yours, bro?
Okay, all right.
Here's with one joint. Here's with one album.
Okay, I hit you with one. My first one, I'm gonna hit you with. Whoo! All right. There's a Dark Side, Redman, which is the darkest album on the planet. It's an evil album. It's a banging album. You gotta be careful when you play it, what time of night it is. You know, because it'll just make you mad. It's an evil album, man. I don't know what he did, but There's a Dark Side, man. I ran that joint into the ground, literally, when that thing came out. And the thing about it was, I listened to Redman's first joint, of course, but There Is a Dark Side to me is my personal Redman's of all the albums that he's done. That's my personal favorite. And that one, man, it just brings back so many memories. But it definitely, the title, it just lives up to everything. The fact that his head is coming out the ground, it's just a wicked album, man. It's a wicked album. His verses are ridiculous. Being hardcore is more than willing fakes. What do you say? Being hardcore is more than wearing fake skelly caps and making fake ass frowns because your best buddy packs. Yo, man, Redman is like, it was one of his illest. Like, he just dug real deep and came out with some wickedness. So There's a Dark Side.
And the funny thing, bro, I still gotta go back and re-listen to There's
Oh my gosh.
No. And we did this before on the Slept On album show, and I explained to you that my man Gnu from Jers told me, he was over my crib, and I was like, nah, I don't really get it. He was like, yo, you don't smoke, do you? And I was like, nah. He was like, yeah, you won't get it. Like, if you don't get high, this album's gonna go right over your head. You know what I mean? So,
right by you.
Exactly. So I'm gonna try and give it a listen sober until they legalize marijuana in Maryland. I gotta listen sober. You know what I mean? But I definitely want to give it a listen because this is the second time you shouted it out. So I definitely gotta dig back in the crates with that joint. All right, Vic, what you got on tap, Vic?
I'm gonna shout out because he took mine. There Is a Dark Side, man, and it's definitely a smoked out album. But so to go with another one, I would have to say my first and probably something that I just will always rock is Street Level by the Beatnuts. It's not a banger on that whole album.
Yeah.
It's not a banger. Everything on it is stank righteous, man.
Yeah.
I remember the day I got it. There you go. I still rock it. I still get in the car. It's on multiple CDs that I burn various cuts, and when they come on, I'm just like, yo. Matter of fact, I was just talking about it to my man this week. So it's just one of them albums, you know, Peace to Fast, Juju, Psycho Lust. That's just the craziest. Coming off their EP with the Reign of the Tech, and then we dropped into that, man, and it got no better, man. They just did it real right, man. It's like the EP was the cuts that they didn't, the whack cuts that didn't make street level almost, man, to me.
I don't know, man. The EP was. And
the EP is dope. And the EP is dope.
I don't know.
The EP is dope. I mean, they even on street level, Vinny Mojica's on that, and the only other cat she rocked with like that was Tribe. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy, man. The album is just crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because I knew cats. We was probably gonna be naming some of the same albums, so I got like I got like 5 albums on here, so we ain't bumping heads. But that was my slept on joint right there, because a lot of cats don't know about that album. But like I said before, and it's so funny because this is really lining up with our slept on album show. I guess a lot of our slept on albums came out in '94 because there's another joint that we named on that show. But
that street level is street shit.
Yeah,
y'all that ain't never really, you know, for those y'all coming into it, you know, the younger cats and the older cats that really, you know, me and Ev always say the cats that really wasn't there, you know, their front like they was. That street level was just the real deal to me, man. It was all that.
I mean, that's definitely one of the main albums. I always say Pete and Preem made me want to produce, but that album is right there. Like hearing this album all summer, I was like, yo, I want to make beats. I want to be like these dudes. Well, that's what's up. That's what's up. What you got on tap, Beezo?
I mean, for me, it was too easy, man. It's J. Rue, Sun Rises in the East, man. That joint. I mean, it part of it too is like the sentimental value, because that's when I had my first CD. I had 3 CDs right there. They was all bong, 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 one right after the other. And I used to ride around with my son, my oldest, listening to The Bitches. And I used to hear from his moms like, yo, how you gotta listen to that song? He be in the back in the baby seat rocking out to the song. Until he started trying to talk, he'd be like, the bitches, he be trying to say it. And I'm like, nah, you gotta listen to what J. Rue was saying. And then once his moms listened and heard it, she was like, okay. I'm like, yeah, you can't front on this song. And then it was like, he sampled, Primo sampled the Crusaders on that piece. Everything about that song, man. That whole album for me, though. But The Bitches Come Clean, obviously. I mean, come on, man. That's one of the dopest hip-hop songs of all time. You know what I'm saying? The original, Brooklyn Took It, Perverted Monks, all that shit.
My Mind Sprayed. That album has one of the dopest intros of all time, too. That intro, you know, light is more than form and chaos, substance and oblivion. The intro in that joint is just, that's
MCing was MCing, man. It was like, when you took it, tell me I'm not the only one would do this. I'm sure, Kill, you did it as well when we was at Morgan. You would sit, I mean, as a producer even, you know, I'm listening to the beats, but cats would sit around like in a cypher at the crib, and you would be dissecting the lyrics, yo. Like really, really digging into what cats is saying. Like, oh, you heard what he said, right? Back it up. You gotta listen to it. You would get through it. One song would take like 15 minutes because you were winding, fast forward. It's crazy. And that era, I don't think will ever.
I got a question for y'all then. Like, on that J. Rue album, like, how did y'all feel about his style? Like, that was the amazing thing to me. Like, it was different.
Oh, let me jump in. Let me jump in because that was
my bad, man.
No. I want to answer your question because that was, again, I knew y'all was gonna take it because Beezo, that was one of my joints. But I think for me, the thing that I loved about J. Rue so much was that when you heard the original, he was so hard, like he was Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? And when you heard, you know, Come Clean in the original, but then when I get the album and I'm hearing Ain't the Devil Happy and the Bitches and You Can't Stop the Prophet, it's like, yo, this dude is not only hard, but he's righteous at the same token. You know what I mean? Like he's telling you to say something, and you know, Chuck D to me was always like just intelligent. Like he's a dope MC, all that good stuff. But J. Rue was like the Brooklyn dude on the corner, like standing outside the bodega. He was just like the righteous dude, but like was still, you know, smack you upside the head with a 40, you know, you know what I mean? So that's the thing about his style that was just so dope to me, because I wasn't ready for it. After you hearing Come Clean in the original, you're not anticipating the bitches. You're not anticipating, you know, Can't Stop the Prophet. Like, you know, this dude talking about jealousy, envy, and hatred. Like, You know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't ready for that, you know, and it didn't make the Sunrise in the East. It made the second album, but it was in there for a little minute. The Frustrated Nigga was just incredible.
Oh, that's my joint right there.
Yeah, the Frustrated Nigga.
About the Frustrated Nigga.
I mean, that right there was just like, that's, to me, that when I heard that beat, and then what J. Rule was spitting, it was just like, it was like, this is what we needed in hip hop, and it's what's needed now. We need an MC who's hard, like a J. Rule the Damager, who's respected in the streets, but also teaching knowledge at the same time.
Yo, man,
I think that's what Nas would like to be.
If I was to add on that to answer that question, the thing about J. Rule's style, and I got to talk about the composer. Primo. I think Primo, it just shows his excellence to me, because you got a cat like J. Rule who has a really off-center type of style, but Primo just laid a structure underneath that dude perfectly. So you got everything he was saying, but the beat still knocked, the beat still banging, supported him beautifully. So when we talk about style, I have to nod Primo as well, because to me, not anybody, but a lot of other cats wouldn't have known how to really structure around J. Rule, because you can't really lay a beat and just be like, okay, just put this together real fast. You got to really build something around what that cat is doing. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I read something that was saying that J. Rule will come and spit a verse a cappella, and then Primo will create the beat around that. So, just another nod to that brother, man.
Two things real quick that both of y'all said, Kill, comparing him to Chuck D, it was the voice and his presence. You want up front, what? You know what I'm saying? That came off like Chuck right there, you know what I mean? Like, in your grill, but like you said, he was like a hood righteous nigga. Chuck almost came off like the older head that everybody respected. You know, you kind of looked up to the dude or whatever, but J. Rule was kind of like that hood cat you might have went to high school with. It was a year or two ahead of you, and he just be on the corner, but he not a dummy cat. You know, he a smart hood cat. But my other shit, when you said, Ever, about the structuring with Primo, yo, Come Clean was a perfect example. That beat and the sample, the way Primo flipped the two of them with, I mean, it's like all three of them are laying on top of each other between the drums, the sample, and J. Rule. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole song. And the cutting. You know what I mean? I was gonna
say the cutting of that Onyx joint, that just was just perfect.
And that was like hip hop, like oozing out your speakers and shit, with Primo cutting it up, them hard ass drums, a dope MC spitting some real hard shit. That's hip hop, man. I'm sorry, that's hip hop to me. Word up. And that's why I love that joint, man. That's one of my all-time favorites on the low, but it gets slept on too, man. In this whole, you know, in that year, because there was so much that came out that year, man.
Yeah.
What you got, Kill?
I'm a fall back from one of the joints that I got, because I know somebody else gonna say it and they gonna probably have a better story with it. I'll come back to it if they don't. But I'm gonna go with Common's joint, Resurrection. You know, I love Com's Resurrection, and it's funny. I most cats don't admit stuff like this, but I'm gonna be honest and admit it. Yo, I probably heard I used to love her. I can't even count how many times. And one day I'm just at the crib, like maybe out in the like 12.
Don't say it.
He gonna say it.
I'm gonna say it. I ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. I was like, oh shit, y'all, he talking about hip hop, and everybody in the room was like, dog, do you even, where have you been, B? Like, yo, of course he's talking about hip hop.
No,
he's talking about a girl. You know what I mean? But I'll be the first to admit, lyrics I don't pay. And if cats have been watching the show, you've seen Evan Beezo school me on the difference of an MC to a. I'm such a producer that I just hear beats. I'm not even really paying attention. Like the lyrics are like afterthoughts to me, you know. But I've never been good with like those subliminal songs. Like, I'll admit this. When Erykah Badu had the Bag Lady joint out, I was like, yo, T, that's dope, man. She talking about the homeless people. I'm telling you, like, she ain't talking about no homeless people.
You wildcat, man.
It's just, hey, dog, you call us all Bag Lady. I think it's about a Bag Lady, you know? So, hey, you know, it just is what it is. I ain't ashamed to admit my shortcomings, but and I'm sure that probably made me like I used to love her so much more, because I'm like, damn, this had me thinking he was talking about a girl for a while. But I'm just the whole album. You know, I've always been a big Com fan. I kind of felt like this was Com coming into his own skin almost, because, you know, the first Common album, he was kind of DOS, effectsy, kind of little bit, you know, and I really felt like this was coming into his own. No ID and Why Not, just great production again. Just a dope album. I mean, the Resurrection joint, and of course the Extra P. And on the low, a lot of cats don't know Extra P did 2 remixes. You know, and both of them joints was banging. But you know, one of them is just, you know, what everybody looks at as the Extra P mix. So I just think it was a dope album. You know, just I used to love it. To me, just summed up so much of what was going on in hip hop. You know what I mean? So I gotta definitely give a shout out to that. So, you know, Comm's Resurrection is definitely one of my favorite albums.
You know, it's funny, Kill. I mean, I didn't have that same issue with the song. I knew what he was talking about from the first time I heard it. I haven't said that. That was honestly the one and only Common album I ever bought, because I never been a big fan of his, man. His voice is annoying to me because he sounded like he got a cold or something, man. Right. I never really rocked with Common, but that album I did buy. That was the one album of his that I copped. And there's a joint on there. It's an interlude, but it's just like a beat and some and like a sample that's being flipped. It's on. It was on. I had the tape, so it was on like the B side of I Used to Love Her, and it was like I used to be able to freak it because it was like if you flipped it right when I Used to Love Her end and rewind it a little bit, you'd be right at the joint. But I don't even know the name of the joint. I haven't listened to that album in so long, but that's when I feel the same way. That's when Common, you know, he went from being. Is that when he went from being Common Sense to just Common, as a matter of fact?
No, I think that album was still Common Sense.
That was
the next joint was Common.
But I do think that's when he became like a real. I at least took him more serious. Let's put it that way. I was able to deal with his nasal voice because there was some hot joints on it, and some of the beats was crazy on it.
I always look at that joint as a coming of passage album, man. Like, from a teenager to like going into your 20s as a young man, some of the stuff that he talked about was dead on. And during that time, I really connected with it, even though he had his own way of putting it across. But I think that's my favorite Common album today, is Resurrection.
I actually went out and found that joint on vinyl, man, not too long ago, just to have it. So you're not standing alone, Kill. A lot of cats. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, if you really true to the culture and rap music, I mean, you can't, unless you just got haterade coming out your pores, I can't see an argument to say, man, that's some, you know, it actually is a classic album. You know, rock that. You know.
All right, so Ab, what you got back on tap? What's your second joint?
All right, my second joint, man, which is gonna be real hard. My second joint is really my number one, but it's so hard because, you know, I got a lot of favorites in here, but I gotta go with Hard to Earn, Gangstar. To me, that was from top to bottom. That you put that joint in and it bangs all the way through. I think that was Guru at one of his finest moments. Premier just, I can't say his finest moment because Premier just kept getting better. But Hard to Earn, man, just was. I got the joint signed by both of them, put it like that. You know, they had a record sign, and I brought my Hard to Earn joint down there to get them cats to sign it. But I completely love that album because it just knocks. It just knocks. And sometimes, you know, Guru, sometimes you're with him, sometimes you're not with him. But on Hard to Earn, he kills it all the way through.
Now, on Hard to Earn, was that Above the Clouds was on that joint?
No, that was afterwards.
That's afterwards.
Yeah.
Hard to Earn is Long Way to Go, Code of the Streets, Sucker Street, Bodyguard,
that's the one that Planet of Brooklyn.
Guns.
And the Planet of Brooklyn or whatever's on there.
That
interlude before that joint.
Oh yeah.
To me, it's the greatest interlude beat I've ever heard in my entire life, yo.
I don't know if that beats 92 interlude though.
What you mean?
The Preem joint. We talking about interludes. That 92
Group Home interlude was the dopest joint.
Group Home.
Yeah.
Look. Matter of fact,
What it's signified, Nick.
That's not an interlude. That's the intro. That's the intro. Like I thought
that intro.
Dice.
What'd you say?
I thought you were talking about the interlude where they were shooting dice on Group Home album.
That's nice too. Got the.
That's I too. That's I too. Yeah.
That 92 interlude with them pianos that he ended up giving to Have on the Blue Funk album is crazy too, man. That Aretha Franklin break.
Yeah. I got to check for it, but I mean, for me personally, I mean, I think some of that with the group home. I mean, that whole album, though, group home was so ridiculous. But the Hard to Earn joint is funny because I wasn't never like huge on well, I was a Primo, my God, on Guru. But it was like that was the first album I heard him. It's like, okay, he's, you know, I can mess with him for the whole joint this time, instead of it being like just a couple of songs where I had no idea what he was talking about. He just sounded like some drunk dude rambling on at times to me and shit. But that was one of the first gangster albums that I was able to rock with Guru from beginning to end. But I still say that interlude, I don't know, man.
Yeah, the dope thing about Hard to Earn is I remember, man, it had to be freshman year at Morgan. What year is this? Yes, not 99. And it was sophomore year. It says 94. But I remember me, my man Bill Jabari, we was coming back from Towson, listening to Bill Little Car, and Long Way to Go came on. We was like, this all right, you know, but this ain't what we was expecting. And then when Code of the Streets came in, it was like just a head nod fest, like, okay, here we go. Like, and it just, you know, it just, you know, took you there. Suckers Need Bodyguards, even worse from the Nutcracker with Malachi, you know, because the group home is 6, so all you punk say this, you know. Just all that.
I'm telling everybody out there, see these 3 cats, they always got to be hard, man. The most eternal, forever party moment in the history of mankind.
Oh.
Will always be DeWitt.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
2 seconds of it, and it's the wild out.
Right.
It's the
now,
wild.
Tell me this. The funny thing is I sent it out to cast, but I don't know if y'all peeped it. That
flipped it in spam.
Yeah, the interview joint. I mean,
about Now You're Mine.
Yeah.
I think that alone.
Wait, to say it again?
On Now You're Mine, like if you peep the lyrics. Hold on, let me bring up the lyrics real quick. The lyrics to Now You're Mine. Yo, Duke, you're dead wrong. You'll never have the skills like mine. I write the ill-type rhymes. Now I'm reaching my prime. 360 dunk in your face. You can't compete. You just a basket case. You know, Preem was saying the day before him and Google had got into a big fight, like a physical fist fight or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he said he came in, and they said the song was originally for the White Men Can't Jump soundtrack. You know what I mean? And he said Google went in the booth and like just looked at Preem the whole time and just spit that rhyme and then was like, that's good. And he was like, yeah, he was like, fuck you. And he stormed out. So Preem was like, yo, that whole rhyme is about me. Like he wrote that rhyme about me and sitting looking right at me, you know. But you know, those are the stories I love to hear, man, because you never have no idea that song is about me, you know. And to be honest, it's almost like, I don't know, B, if you've seen it, the Bad Boy Piston 30 for 30.
Oh, loved. Yeah, I've watched it twice already.
Right, but the thing is how they kept saying like that could never happen nowadays. Not just with the fouls, but with the people giving up. That could never happen nowadays, I don't think. Like, get the bond that Gang Starr had, I feel like if you was in a group nowadays and you got into a fist fight, like, it may be over. You know what I mean? And you know, and then you come in and you write a rhyme and I'm staring you in your eyes and I'm dissing you, like, it may be a rap. That may be the breakup of the group. And to say, you know, like, you know, from that, then they go on to make Moment of Truth. It's like, you know, it was just, you know, almost that commitment of just real hip hop. And that's what friendship is sometimes. Sometimes it gets physical. You get in the fights, but you keep it moving.
Yo, let me ask y'all something. Because I had this debate with somebody just the other day, as a matter of fact, like last week, about Primo. And he was arguing that his best work was, I forget what album, he was saying it was one of the Gang Starr albums. But I was like, I thought his best work was the Lil Dap in the first joint, the first album.
Group Home.
I can't believe it slipped my mind, but to me, it's like that Group Home album. I mean, that's in my top 10 dopest hip hop albums ever. But I think that's Primo's best work from beginning to end, top to bottom. Like, you go track for track, nothing putting
that's
all
why
the lyrics
he got
aside.
them dudes to rap on.
Right, putting all the lyrics aside, just beats. For beats.
And he says he scratches it in the beginning of the album.
He got them to rap.
He goes, I'm start this act. Yo, he said
right. That's what I'm saying. He got them to rap on it so you can just pay attention to the beats.
Well, now I know about that.
Malachi, the Cream understood is I gotta really come with it with these two cats. Like this ain't J. Rule. This ain't.
How you put my man Lil Dap down? So Lil Dap.
No, Cream said this himself.
Damn. I mean, I guess because they're young cats, but Malachi, I understand.
I mean, Dap had the ill voice. I like that, but I mean, Cream said so himself. And I mean, if he didn't say it, I mean, it's almost like it's common sense. These dudes ain't Guru. They not J. Rule. So it's like I always
feel like in terms of all them Gangstar crew like MCs, obviously J. Rule was the best, but Lil Dap to me, I would take over Guru. I thought Lil Dap was a much nicer MC.
Nah, I can't take over Guru.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I'm gonna hit the controversy button. I'm gonna say it right now. I was
you hit it.
Kind of like I was making garbage a harsh word. Pardon me. Let me back that up. I respect the cat because I did respect him, and I bought way too many gangster albums.
Guru was garbage.
As in comparing line for line, I never thought Guru. I would never look at him as a lyricist, as a dope MC. He was an MC.
He was an MC.
Professional at his craft.
He wasn't a lyricist. I got you on that.
You know what?
But that group home album, yo, Lil Dap said he had some shit on there, man. There was some lines on a few of them choices. Like,
no,
I'm gonna say this, B. I'm gonna say this, and then we gotta get back to the list. That's a whole nother show right there. Yeah. But I feel you. I never really thought Guru was incredible. You know, when I really realized that I thought Guru was really dope, and this is bad, but it was after he died. And the reason why I believe is because I was such a Primo fan, and like I just said earlier, I'm always listening to beats. Again, a lot of what Guru said to me just kind of was just background music to me, just paying all 100% of my attention to Premier. But once he passed, and I put together a little Gangstar mix, it was the first time I think ever I heard Guru first before I heard the beat. And I could really say like, yo, he was a dope MC. Like, I mean, when you listen to Just to Get a Rep, that had to be 89. And I mean, that song to this day still bangs. And it's like, listening back to it, I'm like, almost like, yo, how can I front on this dude? And I know every line that he has. Like with Dap, I think Dap had an ill voice. I think if Dap sounded like me, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But ill Dap had that ill, lispy voice that was
I feel you on that, but I fucked with Lil Dap's lyrics way more, his flow, delivery, way more than Guru.
Hard to Earn is that album that to me, because I feel you, I kind of felt the same way, but on Hard to Earn, Guru really comes through hard. Like he really, like I had to get a cat that because I wasn't the biggest Guru fan, but on Hard to Earn, he really came through and showed his skill set.
All right, so Vic, what you got next up for us?
Whew. So we did street level, Ev did, we did. That one was the island. I would have to go with something that I played, that I put up there with on a level of reasonable doubt, just for content and old-headedness to make up a word. I would go with OC's Word Life, man.
What? I mean, don't get me wrong. OC's Word Life is a banger. I'm just no. It's not about Word Life. It's the fact that Vic said Word Life, and he didn't say what I expected him to say.
Oh, okay.
Gus? Word?
That was the Island album. That's futuristic, B. I can't. That's
no,
just
you ain't saying, but you ain't out of your top two in '94.
And I feel bad because I'm a Pac fan, and I really should be saying Thug Life, but we only getting 3.
But wait, I'm just want to be cute. Want to be straight. Out of your top 2, a '94 Main Ingredient ain't make neither one.
But see, Main Ingredient, I wish the Tribe lyric don't put no date on your shit. That's that album to me. So for the spirit of the conversation, OC's Word Life.
Right. No, OC Word Life is my shit. Don't get me wrong, all the way. I'm kind of sorry I ain't put it in my top 2.
I got to roll with it because, matter of fact, I had lost it. And then I think I copped it from you. You were the one that gave it to me again. And then I passed it to my man. So, and I still find myself just playing that and what's the joint? Dead Times Limited. All right. I mean,
Time's Up. Time's Up is one of them classic joints that just, again, it goes back. It was something like you said, Beezo, about you want to front. It was something about back in those days about how you set your rhymes off, And if I'm not mistaken, how he set that off, you lack the minerals and
vitamins, irons, and the lights.
Just the way he set it off. Yeah. It was so much about MCs you know, even with stills, you know, on Bucktown, you know, I walk around town with a pound strap down on my side, no front, just in case I gotta smoke something. You know, it was something about the way just MCs just would set a song off that just lets you know that whatever was coming after that just was it just was getting even better. You know, it's almost like driving past the restaurant and you smell like, man, that smells good. You just know when you get inside you're gonna get a good meal. And that's what MCs back in the 90s used to do. So now I feel you on that.
And their cut, Word Life, is just up there with, you know, I don't know the year, but that's just one of them cuts, you know, along with, you know, Troy and Grand Groove, man. It's just up there. Word Life is just a cut, man, that I just, again, you know, lack of words, just always find myself playing, man, and reminiscing, you know.
I just got to say, man, OC is, to me, OC was one of them cats that stepped up lyricism to another level. Yeah, I kind of wish that album was a little bit better, because it just had some like, for me, a little couple like boring pockets to it, like near the end. But OC on the whole, man, I think he just like he was one of them cats that really came in with a new style, stepped everything up a whole nother level. Time's Up was my joint too. So,
well, and the funny thing is that you brought up OC and for a quick second, because I actually was just listening to Jules the other day, and it kind of just made me think like, yo, what happened to dude, man? Like after that second album, you know, it just, I mean, he had that joint, you know, that Preem did. He had what was that joint called? It's My World, and I Won't Stop. He had the War Games. He had, you know, that Jules album was a banger, and it's just like. Yeah, it's like he just disappeared, you know.
Well, so, he's on Prince Poe's last album.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's a huge. I mean, Jules.
He didn't stay relevant long at all.
Right, yeah, right. You know, it's like he had 2 albums and he just disappeared from the face of the earth, big. You know, but yeah, salute to that joint too. So what you got? What you got, Beezo?
My next album is "Creeping on the Come Up" by Bone Thugs and Harmony. Nah, I'm fucking with you. Never that. Never ever that. I guess no, I never rocked with them.
In Harmony.
That was Beezo's shout on the low. That's what that was.
I couldn't tell you one lyric other than that's a lyric to me for them cats. That's the most I know of them cats. I guess I'd have to say, I mean, it's almost my duty to bring it up. Then is the main ingredient, because
see, I passed it for you. I figured you was gonna bring it up.
I figured that, because it's like
I passed it.
I mean, that was the easiest, most obvious. I've told the story before, man. The day it came out, me and Shy went downtown to the harbor, copped it, listened to it, sat in the car, listened to that joint like in detail. You know what I mean? Went hard listening to it. But I do want to bring up one other album though. Was the Organized Confusion joint, Stress.
The Stress joint.
Now, I personally didn't love the album. There was a lot of joints on there. It was just like, eh. But the remix to Stress with Lost Pro, yo, I still listen to that joint like on a regular basis. Like, I heard it last week probably 30, 40 times on my iPod. You know what I mean? I love that joint, Stress. Because, yo, at the time, you know, Cass was in B-Mode. I think we was in the mix of trying to get something started with somebody, and it was a lot of stress about it and all that. You know, me and Shy would listen to that song like on repeat for an hour while you cleaning the crib joint. I mean, that song alone makes that album worthwhile for me. Even though, I guess.
Let me ask you this. The joint wasn't on the album.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But
so are you shouting out the album?
Right, because the original comes from that album. I'll bring that album up because that song. That's how much I love that song. You know what I mean? Even though the one I love wasn't actually on the album, the original song came from the album. So for that, I'll give that album some love.
All right, let's go back and give Pete and CL some love too, because that joint for me, I mean, again, going back to how albums set off, just the way that album comes on. Like, just with that interlude with the Bismarck sample, you know, I like to introduce myself. And then when it goes on In the House and hearing how Pete Pete Rock is in that. Yo, I mean, it was just like, and then going from that into Carmel City. To be honest with you, fam, I mean, I'm sure there are, but right now off the top of my head, I can't think of too many albums that just started off so perfectly. Like, that intro, the In the House, the Carmel City, I mean, it's just, I mean, I was in love with the album from there. Like, it could have been like the next 10 songs could have been whack. That just the way it set off. I mean, I Gotta Love, you know, the It's On You. God, It's On You. I could listen to that for years. Take You There, In the Flesh. I always go back and forth. I mean, I actually prefer Main Ingredients to Mecca and the Soul Brothers, man.
I do.
I don't know if I go that far, but I feel you.
I mean, I think it's one of them joints. To me, those two are almost like the arguments I've gotten into, and I've seen cats get into about what's better, Low End or Midnight. You know, I don't think you can kind of go wrong with either one. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they're both classic albums. So I mean, I don't think, you know, I could just say that there was no sophomore slump for Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
You know, it's a dope song on the album that nobody ever talks about. At least it was for me. It was right at the very end. Get on the mic. I love that joint. Get on the mic. Don't. With just the bass, like don't. And then when the beat drops, it's like, oh man,
my joint is Escape. Escape is ridiculous. How they flip that Earth, Wind, and Fire shit. It's evil.
You know what I loved about that album though? Because again, being from the Vernon, it was like Pete. You know, Pete was always heavy on the jazz samples, but there was songs on there that was so smoothed out and were perfect for CL. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about before about J. Rue and Primo. I don't know if there's a better dude, voice wise and flow wise, for Pete tracks than CL.
I mean, I think he said it best on Soul Survivor. The best to ever do it on a Pete Rock track. Like,
it's like his voice over Pete's beats is a perfect combination. It really is. And that album, I think you got to see it a little bit more, because I think for Pete it was more like it was now his show. Like, he had stamped his name, you know, after their first album. You know, it was the EP, the first album. He had done all these songs for different artists all over the place, and now he's getting a chance now to work on their next album. And you could tell, it just, to me as a producer, and again, knowing cats and from the Vernon and all that, it felt like he was just in that place, like, you know, I'm settling in, you know, kind of like he found his niche, his groove in hip hop, and he was settling on that spot at that point. Like, yeah, I'm in my seat, I got my chair, I'm at the table, I'm doing my damn thing, and it just, I love that joint for me. It's one of them joints, you put it in and just press play.
Whenever I play Roy Ayers, I always put that in for, like, it's like the missing Roy Ayers shit. Like, if Roy Ayers was doing a joint, not to take nothing from either of them, but it, like, you would expect to see them at this show. Like, this album it's just built like that, man. It's built. I ended up listening to, I had an Acura at the time, Legend, and this had to been back in '94, '94, and I ended up playing it by accident, almost. And my system, you know, when things are lower, the bass is more pronounced. And I kept saying, damn, what is that? And I finally took the joint, I'm like, damn, that's that Pete Rock I caught. Let me check that out. And then after that, man, it just was the jump off for me, man. It always will be. Another album, I had to go out and find the original on wax just to get that total depth of what was really going on with, you know, with the beats on that joint, man. You know, and to agree with Bees, I mean, you couldn't have nobody else but CL Smooth on that shit. Nobody else could pull that off, man.
That's before all the crazy guest appearances, other than,
right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, have, you know, like he had to do another basement type of joint or whatever, because that was such a classic joint, but it was just Pete and CL for the most part, man. You know what I mean? It was just like a perfect blend, yo, the two of them cats, man. Hold up.
Yeah. All right. So my next joint, you know what I mean, would be, and I think the dopest thing about this, I mean, because I knew Cash was gonna have joints, but it just goes to testify what a crazy year '94 was. That I could be like, you got that one. You know, like I knew you was gonna say that, so I got another joint. Southern Playalistics, man. Outkast, man.
True.
Outkast, man. That was, and the funniest thing about that is, you know, I heard. The craziest thing about it is I heard pieces of the album. I heard the album, but I never really listened to it as a whole album when it came out. But the joints that they were coming out with, I love Players Ball, I love Southern Playalistics, Get Up, Get Out, Crumbling Herb, you know, just everything on the album. I loved it, and I think even looking back at it 20 years later, I don't know if cats saw that thing I sent about just Outkast and just the history of Atlanta. just how much they did for the South, man. Like these dudes, there was no Dirty South before Outkast. You know, there was no ATLians. There was no ATL. You know, ATL was LaFace. That was on some TLC, some R&B stuff. Like them dudes was, you know, they were like almost like what Dre was to LA. Like Dre was using the SP and the MP, and these dudes was in the basement with Organized Noise using the SP. Like they were following the traditions of hip hop and just putting their spin on it, coming from the South. Much more funk, much more soul, you know, and just originality, if not for nothing. Like you can't say, yo, when Outkast came out, oh, they was trying to sound like somebody or their beats sounded like this. Outkast was just two dope MCs, dope beats, you know, dope album to me, man.
Yo, you doing sleepers now?
Yeah. What's your sleeper joint now?
I first got to apologize to anybody that knew me in '94 at Morgan State. My people's from Queens, and my man G from LI, because I played this album literally every day. The Roots, Do You Want More? Love that joint.
Really, one of y'all's gonna bring them cats, huh?
I played it in the hole, man. I played that joint all the way through. So that's my sleeper. I think, you know, if you haven't checked it, you gotta check it. Thought to me has always been one of the nastiest MCs out there, and he just shows that on here. I think the album is well put together, man. I think for their second album, it was actually definitely a banger. So
you know the funny thing about this, bro, and I don't know if you remember this, man. You were saying, yo, Kill, we gotta go buy this album to support Philly. Yeah. And I was like, nah, I don't like this shit. I'm not buying this shit to support nobody. I don't care if they come from Providence Street.
Yo,
I'm not buying it just because they from Philly. You was like, yo, you was like arguing with me like, yo, they from Philly. This like, you know, this yo, this ain't Fresh Prince. This is the Roots. This is like, oh, I don't care what you say. We may have been arguing outside the steps, right outside Baldwin. I can't remember. I just remember you saying, yo, we got to support this album. And the funniest thing is that's my sleeper because I slept on it. I slept on that album because at the time, I just felt like it was too light in the ass for me. Like it just, everything else in hip hop was just so boom bap and so in your face that it was just like, you know, I hear, you know, distortion, the static, and I'm like, oh God, here we go with this Digital Planet crap. I don't know what they talking about. What this distortion? Like, what the hell? Oh God, here we go with this. Like, yo, I just want to hear Boot Camp Click. Where's Wu-Tang? Like, and then I hear Mellow My Man. It was just all Mellow My Man, Mellow My Man. And it was like, hey, yo, give me 5 on the Black Can side. I was like, oh, come on, man. And then, you know, Malik, I can make the nerd say he's superb. And I'm like, oh.
Wait. Do you like this album? I'm still about to say it.
No, I do like the album. I'm just saying at that time, my mind, like, I was just in such of a hardcore boom bap mode that I just couldn't accept this whole, like, the sticker on the front, like, no samples. Like, they was proud of it. Like,
that's why I didn't fuck with it. I saw that, I was like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, like I almost felt like it was like we're better than hip hop. We don't sample.
I took offense to that.
We play live jazz, and then I felt like they was getting on that jazzy tip at the end of it. Yeah. Like it was after Digga Boy had won the Grammy, and we cool like that, and all of that. But to say, I'm just saying that at that time, that's why I didn't like it. Now listening to it, it's an incredible album. That's why I was saying it's my slept on album because I myself slept on it. You know what I mean? But it was because it was just, you know, now when Philadelphia came out, that was more of a boom bap album. That's to me when I became like, I'm like, okay, here we got some samples. Okay, we got some drums. Okay. But it is an incredible album. It's an incredible album. So I'm saying that as myself. I slept on the album too. So I definitely feel you. But do you remember that?
I do. Because I remember walking around like, that was the thing for me, man. I was in B-more. It was the first time being away from home. And that was the thing that kind of kept me like tapped in. But so I actually played that joint, I think, every day. I was to the point now, even when I talk to my people that I went to school with, like, yo, man, I still got that root shit in my head. I'm like, yo, my bad, man. I played that joint to death.
Now, the one joint I did love on there was The Lesson with Dice Raw. That joint was
nasty.
That was right there.
And the remixes, the remix to was that Proceed, the Roy Ayers remix joint. Was that Proceed?
Once they started doing the remixes, like the Viewfinders did a remix too. the Beat Miners did a remix to Silent Treatment, and I did like Silent Treatment. I thought Silent Treatment was dope. You know, Silent Treatment was dope. But then they started. I felt like they kind of understood that they were getting overlooked because then they started. You know, the Beat Miners did a remix to Proceed. The Beat Miners did a remix to Silent Treatment, and you don't go to the Beat Miners unless you want that boom bap. So I think somebody at their label or maybe one of them kind of realized, like cats like me and Beezo was like, nah, this is too, you know, because you go to the
Who did the Roy Ayers joint? Who did that beat? Who was that?
think maybe they did it with like Roy Ayers, with Roy Ayers. It was for
He's in the video, I think.
Yeah, that was for like a project. Was it an AIDS? It was for a hot, cool, and
it was for Whole Foods grocery store.
Yeah, the Red Hot joint. It was for that. But I think it was like a mixture of Roy Ayers and them or whatever like that. But yeah, definitely a slept on album because I slept on it too. So, but Vic, who you got up for your slept on joint?
I'm gonna get a whole story. I'm gonna get a long-winded, just in case cats ixnay my shit and move on to the next. So I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I'm gonna start with the lyrics on one of the joints.
Okay.
Back up from the ropes so no one gets hurt. It's the MC with the golden charm. Dust the rappers off with the golden arm. This style deals with the mic in my palm. I never leave my crib without reading the Psalms. I gotta read my scriptures for they keep me refined. I gotta keep my 9 for the deaf, dumb, and blind. Rewind selector led by Supreme Protector. Keeping the tax collector off my back. I could never afford to have whack styles of rap. Check the almanac. The cover, I was in Japan, me and my man.
Oh, yeah.
I had to go get the joint. It's 6
Rapper Forte.
back. What's that?
Rapper Forte.
No. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Jewel of the Nile. 1994. Man.
Yo.
And it's a lot of cats out there that I know would agree with me. It's just a slept on
Wait, what is it?
slept on joint. Jewel of the Nile by Nice and Smooth.
Oh, okay. That's why I know the lyrics. Yeah,
Slept on. Slept on. You don't got it. Matter of fact, you can't even. The joint is crazy expensive now to get. Because just the cats that really just, I mean, if you from the BX, Nice and Smooth is like, yo, it's just huge, man. So, you know, I know a lot of cats is all, man, they got a funny style. Greg Nice always hollering, screaming, man, but that joint is just real. It's personal. And like I said, I was in Japan at the time. And, you know, the way they listen to black music over there, you know, you would think you was in Africa somewhere, man. You go to Japan. So, you know, and I copped it from Tower Records in there. I still got the original copy of the joint. It's just a banger. So that's my most slept on, man. Nice and smooth.
Check that, Vic, because I won't hold you. I think after that Ain't Things Changed album, after Hip Hop Junkies, I don't even think I was even checking.
You know why? You gotta peep the joint, man. A lot of I get that because a lot of cats was, you know, okay, but this joint, man. I mean, they got a Bobby Brown cut on there. They singing but it's dope in itself. But
my bad, you said Bobby Brown is on his album?
Yeah, Bobby Brown is on that joint because they're people from way back. So
now is this well, yeah, okay.
Just peep the joint. Just peep the joint. And see, you know, for all that, that's how I feel about that root shit though. Every time I get there, I'm like, yo, I'm in Whole Foods. I'm grocery shopping. I got greens. I'm gonna make some smooth.
The roots take him to Whole Foods.
Yeah, and Black Boy is one of the greatest MCs ever. But that shit just irritates me, son, to no end, man. Everything.
You gotta hear it again. It's nice. I haven't listened to it in years, though, honestly.
You know,
I'm in the ground.
And that's my challenge to y'all, man, because, you know, outside the box, yo.
I listen.
I do it now, man.
If you co-sign it, if you co-sign it, I'll definitely check it out, man.
Right out.
All right, B, what you got for your sleeper, man?
My sleeper is, it's gonna sound biased, and probably is, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Is Have, man, Nothing But Love, man.
Yeah.
Word up. That album. I mean, again, you gotta mess with R&B, hip hop, but there's some joints, man, on there. Nothing But Love, Got Me Waiting, and Black Coffee. Them three alone, I love them joints, man. Word up. And the None But Love video, where he got it's like overlooking Central Park. It's in black and white with all the models and all that. It just brings back memories, man. It brings back good memories, yo, from back in them days, man. So for me, it's Nothing But Love. I know a lot of cats, you have to be in a certain space to really rock with that type of hip hop. But I mean, again, I don't know if it's because I'm from the Vernon or what, but I always had a thing for R&B hip hop. And that album, yo, and a lot of people don't know, Kid Capri actually did that joint.
Did what?
That song, Nothing But Love. That was Kid Capri and shit that produced that joint. But I mean, I love the song, I love the video, and like I said, them other joints, Black Coffee, Pete Rock did, and one of the other joints, I think Got Me Waiting, Pete Rock did also. Yeah,
Got Me Waiting. We'll get to that on the Pete Salute show, but that's one of my favorite Pete Rock beats, and that always throws people when I say that. But Got Me Waiting, man.
The bass line on that joint, the way he's kicking with the bass tone.
And I think it's a testament to what you say, how sometimes cats sleep on Hev, you know, because I'm like, yo, that beat is crazy, man. You know what I mean? Got Me Waiting is bananas. All right, so to wrap up the show, my Slept On album, 94, this the controversy button. Daddy's Home by Big Daddy Kane.
So I'm out. I'm out.
I can't remember this nigga, man. What? Look at it said, Daddy. Oh my God.
And you're joking, right?
I can't even name a cut on that shit.
He's serious. He dead serious.
I can't even name one cut.
Now I'm messing with y'all. I don't even.
I say now, are we redefining the term slept on, or are we talking about garbage album? 94.
Coma. Most wept on.
Nah, I mean, we done ran through every album, man. My first Slept On was the Beat Nuts, but Vic took that. Then my second one was the Roots, and F took that. So I figure I'll mess with y'all.
I got a question for y'all. How come? I'm just curious. I know why I wouldn't have, but I'm curious why nobody picked Thug Life at all.
I said that.
I was never a big. I'm not a crazy Tupac fan like that.
Yeah, I'm about to say, 'cause I never was. I was Tupacalypse. I bought when he first came out. I was rocking with him. I respected his gangster type. You know, when he got into the shootout with the cops and he shot a cop who didn't identify himself and he beat the charge. I was rocking with Tupac.
Pac is for another scene, man. I was soldiering when that was out, man, and where I was at, a third of the Marine Corps was on that island, man. I mean, killers for real. You know what I mean? You had the street shit, but, you know, we young boys going off the war marching with crazy shit, and, you know, that's what Pac was about, man. You know what I'm saying? So that Tupac is another conversation, another show if y'all want. It's really just, his music is really just on another level, man. I'm not saying as the greatest MC, but his content, his delivery, man. I mean, you know, we was all buck strong, man. You know, where I was at, they was beating somebody to death every month. You know what I'm saying? Because we couldn't have no guns. We come out the field and just boot stomping us with somebody. And I'm not signing off on that, but it's just, you know, when I finally heard Pac and when I was around, it just really made a lot of sense, man. And I don't think cats, you got to be in a certain mind state environment to really, that ain't some shit you just put on. I mean, he got some cuts that you could just put on, but the majority of his music, man, it's just, it is that life, man. You know, and
now tell me this Thug Life album, is it a Pac album? Was it a group album? I never even.
He had a couple cats on there, man. It's actually Thug Life Volume 1. You know, it was a couple cats because I think he was still up in Oakland at the time, and he was I don't know if he was still 2PAC or Tupac, like his name is really spelled, man. But it's
that was a Tupac I rocked with. The number
I don't think there isn't a veteran in the universe, especially them cats that, you know, came from off the West Coast, you know, that wouldn't tell you that, look, wouldn't be able to break that shit down to you, man. And you come out of it like, you know what, I gotta go listen to this cat and end up buying some shit to have in your collection. So,
no doubt. Well, another dope F, y'all. Ev, you came through, you said There's a Dark Side, Redman joint. What was your second joint, bro?
It was Hard to Earn.
Hard to Earn Hard to Earn Gangstar. And the Slept On joint was The Roots Do You Want More. Vic, you chimed in with, what was yours again?
Street Level.
OC With Life.
Gotta check it out. Y'all fronting Jewel of the Knob.
Nice and smooth. And Beezo, you came in with Pete and CL. You came in with J. Rude's joint. And what was the other joint you was kind of going at with Pete?
Damn. I know I had hard to earn as well. I don't even remember.
Right. And then you slept on one was Nothing But Love.
Yeah, Hab's Nothing But Love.
Right. And then my joints was I had Com's Resurrection. I had Outkast Southern Playalistics. And my slept on joint was Do You Want More with the Roots. Another dope ep, y'all. Y'all can check us out at youtube.com/live from the bench. You can check us out every Friday night on WEAA, Strictly Hip Hop 88.9 of Baltimore, Morgan State. You can check that out at www.weaa.org. We on probably between that 1 and 2 o'clock hour. So we're looking for the support as always, fellas. Appreciate the dope convos. Everybody out there, get that Jewel Now joint because I gotta hear what my brother Vic talking about.
Good luck finding it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when I find it, I send it out.
The whole joint, they got it on YouTube. You can find it, man. It's just one of them joints that now finding it on vinyl, this shit is just going for crazy dollars now, man.
If you can't find that, just go get Daddy's Home.
Oh, see, there you go. There you go. And go get Whole Foods. I mean, food by the roots. My colon is clean.
Whole Food poetry by the root.
I eat goji berries.
That's the next show performing at Whole Foods and shit.
Yeah,
frozen food aisle and shit.
All right, y'all. Another dope episode. Stay live, keep it live. Live from the writer's bench.
Peace.
Peace.